Sal Pal Friday here on the Sports Bash. We'll get the insights of ESPN national NFL reporter Sal Paolantonio here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Very, very intriguing week. Sal, welcome back. How are you, my friend?
Great, Mike. Great. Just great.
Good to have you back as we do on the Friday show. And let me ask you, what we saw last night was an entertaining game, and a lot of people worried. They see that Rams team, they saw the Vikings, wondering if the Rams are pulling away as the class of the league.
Well, there's a lot of teams scoring a lot of points. Touchdowns are at an all-time high. Points are at an all-time high. The passing game has never been more wide open. And right now, the Philadelphia Eagles don't have any of that going. And that should be concerning to people. There's no doubt about it.
Sal, I don't know if you know the story with what's going on with Alshon Jeffery. Obviously sick, and Peterson had said he was going to have to practice the full week. It was kind of murky whether he was going to play to begin with. Do we anticipate seeing Alshon Jeffery, and what does he bring to this offense?
Yeah, I don't know about Alshon Jeffery. I don't think a decision has been made. Doug confirmed that he did have some kind of flu bug or bad cold that's been going around the team. If you remember Carson Wentz when he went to the podium on Sunday, he sounded pretty hoarse after the game.
Yep.
I interviewed him, and he kind of blew it off, but you could tell that he wasn't 100%. So it's been going around the team. Michael Bennett has it. They say it's a 24 to 48-hour thing, according to the team, and we'll see. I do believe he practiced Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, Wednesday is when they install the offensive game plan, and he's a veteran player. And if he's feeling better, he might be available to the team. He might. And I think he will be helpful for sure. He's somebody you got to account for in a passing game. And the Titans have only given up 50 points in 3 games, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
They're a much more accountable and tough defense under Mike Vrabel.
Is this the kind of thing where Alshon, who's been out, that they're unsure? Do they have 2 different game plans? In other words, if Alshon plays, they do X. If he doesn't play, maybe they go back to that 13 personnel and they do a little something different. I mean, is there something that drastic?
Good question. Obviously they don't give that away to me.
Right.
I think
if they gave it to anybody, it would be you, though.
Yeah, thank you. I think the bottom line is they need more than just a 2 tight end set. Because what we saw last week was very telling, right, Mike? It was very telling. The Colts started to squeeze down. Their 2 safeties, Gathers and Hooker, played very close to the line of scrimmage. There was no deep threat, no explosive plays. Carson was holding the football. He got sacked and hit, sacked 5 times, hit numerous more times. That's not sustainable.
What'd you think of Carson last week? Were you surprised about what you thought? I mean, you were there. You got a chance to see him on the field. I know on the broadcast on television, they were, you could put it to rest. He's back. You were down on the field level. What did you take from seeing him and moving around? Did he exceed your expectations?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're still inside 10 months since the surgery.
Right.
So it's pretty remarkable for him to come back and to come back at that level. Ability to elude the rush, definitely there. Explosiveness, running the football, not quite there. Arm strength, definitely there. So I think he needs help. I think they've done a less than adequate job of making sure he's got healthy components around him. It's too much for him to be sacked 5 times. Way too much. And by the way, I don't remember who the Colt defender was that landed with his full body weight on Carson Wentz on a sack. I think it was – I'm not sure who it was. But there was no roughing the passer penalty called. And
you mentioned last week that it was a rookie crew, and they threw a lot of flags last week. They were a factor in the game, no question. I mean, that 17-play drive, they extended that drive a little bit, those officials.
Yeah, I'm surprised they have so many rookie crews, to tell you the truth, Mike. It's not working out.
Last night, only 6 penalties. You can see the difference in a game like that with 6 penalties and a game like the Eagles with 21. Much more entertaining product, which you saw last night.
Big difference, yes. And I'm sure the league looked at that and said, we need to have a chat with some of these young referees, and tell them, hey, it's cool. You got the job,
yeah,
and we're okay.
Rodney McLeod being out, how big of a factor is that?
That is a big one. Why? Because they ask him to do a lot of single high safety. They leave him on an island. They leave him in center field. And you have to have an experienced, smart, tough guy to take that role. And it's not named Malcolm Jenkins, because they asked Malcolm Jenkins to do other stuff.
Right.
You might see him a little bit there. You might see Corey Graham a little bit there. You might see Rasul Douglas a little bit there. You might see them change up their defense, which is what I advocate. I advocate 2 safeties side by side, more of a double safety set, almost like a Tampa 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't need that against Mariota necessarily, because you need somebody, in my view, you need somebody who's quick and can spy him, because you don't want him wrecking the game with his legs, because he certainly is not going to do it with his arm. So this week, I'm very interested to see what Jim Schwartz comes up with.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. And the name Mills, you mentioned Douglas and Mills, too. A lot of people think he might be a guy that somewhere down the road, but that doesn't seem like it's happening at this point. So it looks like it's going to be Corey Graham, at least for this week. It doesn't seem like they have a whole heck of a lot behind him.
No, I agree. Corey Graham, maybe a little Douglas, but yes, or maybe a different alignment. But sure, that's basically where I see it going for sure. But, I think the defense will be fine, because they're not playing a very powerful offensive team, and there are not a lot of threats on the field.
Right.
Other than, Derrick Henry and Marcus Mariota. So, I mean, that's not a major issue this week. But once Kirk Cousins comes in next week, it's going to be a major issue.
Yeah, and Mariota's
they got people who can get down the field.
Mariota's got some nerve damage in his elbow and his tingling in his fingertips.
Better. It's getting better, Mike. And we'll see how much it got better in the game. He's wearing a glove on his throwing hand,
No, and Vrabel said this week there's still a lot of throws he can't make. So, that's got to limit. He didn't even start last week, so that's got to limit what they can, what they bring to the table. I know Rashard Matthews got released. He asked for his release, so their offense is very limited. But I know you were doing the Eagles game last week, but when you saw 9-6 Tennessee over Jacksonville, was that an eyebrow raiser?
They always play him tough.
They do.
The Titans seem to have Jacksonville's number ever since the Jeff Fisher days, actually.
That was something that Jacksonville mentioned, that they remembered they got beat twice last year, and then they get beat again. That game's in Jacksonville, though. Tennessee's won 11 out of 13 at home. Do you think, Sal, that this is a tricky game? Yes,
I do. Yeah, for sure. I think it's a 3-score game either way. Whatever team gets the 3 scores, I mean by 3 scores, 3 touchdowns, or the equivalent of, is going to win the game. The Eagles are only averaging 19 points a game, Mike. They were averaging 27 points a game last year. They're not scoring a lot of points, and neither are the Titans. This is going to be one of those, the more entertaining stuff might be going on in the stands. There's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there.
Yeah, I heard that the airport was pretty filled this morning heading out to Nashville. In fact, we sent a listener down there that is going to the game. They got a chance at the draft to draft which road game they wanted to go to. They picked Nashville, so they're going down there to see the Eagles and the Titans.
Tough for me to get a flight. I'm flying through Atlanta.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And then on the way home through Raleigh.
Yikes. Wow. So
staying at the airport.
They're sending you all over the place here.
Staying at the airport, an airport hotel.
Oh, geez. You're going to Nashville.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm staying at the airport hotel in Nashville, and I
hope they have a Dunkin' Donuts down there.
We will find it for sure. I have a feeling that you will be texting me Sunday morning, "Hey, Sal Pal, Here's the nearest Dunkin' Donuts.
Here's the nearest. I hope it's at the airport. That would really work out for you. All right, Sal, we know the Eagles limited. They're getting some weapons back. If Jeffrey comes back, Jai looks like he's going to play. Sproul's no good, but you're getting Jay back, Alshon. When do you expect to see the Eagles maybe more like the Eagles offense we saw a year ago?
You know, I think it's going to be it won't be close to last year. I still think they're going to have problems scoring throughout the season. This team is not going to look like the one it looked like last year.
We know that McLeod being out on defense, too, that limits them on defense because we've been having a conversation all week long here. Some of the listeners, we said if you're nitpicking right now, their red zone defense success, at some point that's going to stop, right? You can't keep stopping teams in the red zone. That was a concern from the listeners is at some point some of these teams, like the Rams, like the Vikings, like the Saints, they're going to be able to punch it in inside the 20s, so they're going to have to be able to do something more on offense.
Oh, for gosh sakes, yes. Yeah, they are. You know, now, these other teams are not perfect. But, you know, the conference is very competitive. Very. Very competitive. And, you know, they have a very challenging schedule. And they got to go to L.A. still in December. Yeah, they have some tough games.
We brought it up, Sal. Other than the NFC East matchups and they play the Texans late in the year, every other team on the schedule made the playoffs last year.
That's rough.
Yeah. It's, you know, so that makes – and this team made the playoffs last year. People forget they made the playoffs. So this is a pretty – if you want home field advantage, if you're thinking about that, this is the kind of game you can't lose.
Yeah, you know, and I don't think this is a lock, this game.
Agree.
I definitely don't think a lock. You know, if you struggle with the Colts at home or Carson Wentz coming back, this game is not a lock for sure.
Definitely.
Because, you know, if you remember, when they needed – road win last year, and they had to fly all the way out to San Diego. It was LeGarrette Blount that won the game.
Yep.
It was LeGarrette Blount keeping the offense on schedule.
Well, how about Wendell Smallwood last week?
It was LeGarrette Blount giving the Chargers a mouthful of face mask every other down. I mean, and they don't have that back.
Yeah.
They don't have that guy. J.J. is not that back. Clement, not that back. The closest they have to it is Josh Adams at this point.
Yeah. What did you think of Smallwood last week?
Yeah, he was good. He was good. You know, the key thing about these running backs is get positive yardage and don't fumble the football.
Yeah. Well, I thought Smallwood did a good job extending.
You know, the Eagles are -3 in turnovers. They're at the bottom, near the bottom of the league. I think they're third from the bottom.
All right.
So they have some stuff to clean up, Mike.
Definitely.
They definitely do. And this is one of those games where it will take a lot more discipline. Fewer penalties, no turnovers. They had 2 turnovers in red zone. They had a lot of penalties last week. I believe they're averaging 8.5 or 9 penalties a game. They're near the bottom of that category too. They need to get more discipline on both sides of the ball in terms of penalties, not turn the football over, play steady, consistent football, and they'll come out of there with a win. If they start, you know, putting the ball on the ground and having dumb penalties, they could easily lose this game, easily. I know Vegas is heavy on taking the 3.5 or 4.
Yeah.
I know the line has not moved, but I looked at the New York Post this morning, and just about everybody was picking the Titans with the line. You know, home dogs this year are 10-3 against the spread, and there are only 4 home dogs this week. I think 3 or 4, Titans being one of them. So people are leaning heavily on the home dogs right now because of the way the line is going.
I think it's a tricky one, too. I agree with you. This is no gimme going down to Nashville. They're 11 out of the last 13 at home. All right, Sal, your number one key to the game and who wins?
Well, you know, you just got to prevent them from scoring. I think they've only scored touchdowns on 3 of 32 offensive drives. You know, so that's way down there. It's in the 10% range. You're not going to win a lot of football games like that, Mike. So the key, obviously, is I'll say it again, play disciplined football. Don't have the dumb penalties. Don't put the football on the ground. Play disciplined, consistent football, and you'll come out of there with a win, which I think they will do. They're a very well-coached team. and I think they'll win 20-13.
28-13.
No, 20
20
to 13.
Sorry, 20
to 13, which
This
means I think they will cover the game. I do.
All right. Hey, Eagles fans, fuel up for game day at Dunkin' Donuts. DD Perks, score a medium hot or iced coffee for $1 every Eagles game day. Just use your Perks enrolled DD card. Eagles fans run on Dunkin'. And if an Eagles win, you score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles game. And Sal is predicting that you will have $1 coffee on Monday. All right, Sal. Well, safe travels, man. You're heading all over the East Coast here, Atlantic, the ACC country down there.
Okay, baby.
All right. We'll
See
talk
ya.
to you next week. That's Sal Paolantonio.